Thank you for tuning in to Roll Call, The Boy Next Door.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Roll Call, the show where two childless millennials gush over movies and follow an actor's journey from their early years throughout their blockbuster hits.
Because, let's face it, we miss Blockbuster.
Yes! And guess what, y'all? We are so lucky that we have not one, but two ex-Blockbuster employees guest hosting on our show today. So it's our pleasure to introduce Danielle and Jackie from the podcast No More Late Fees.
Yay! I wish there was a Blockbuster jingle or something we could sing.
Make it a Blockbuster night.
We are going to make it a Blockbuster night.
Hell yeah.
This one's going down in history.
I'm just excited for this double crossover.
Yes, epic. So if you haven't already, because by the time this comes out, our Love and Basketball episode will be way old. But we were on their podcast and we watched Love and Basketball and talked about that with them. So we invited them to our world of Jennifer Lopez for this season. And I am excited to have you guys, and I'm excited, for some more future possibilities with us hanging out again.
Yes.
So ladies, tell us about your Blockbuster connection and how you came about the idea for your podcast and all that.
I wish
I don't know this woman.
We just met today.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember us talking about it. It was almost like Jackie and I both separately had the same idea and started talking about it, which is not unusual for us because we've been best friends for 2 decades.
24 years, I think.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
We're babies.
Yeah, we met our sophomore year in high school, and Jackie started working at Blockbuster before me, and of course she got chosen to be able to work there pretty quickly. I, on the other hand, I could not pass that psychological test. That damn Blockbuster. Yeah.
There's no psychological
Yes, there was.
I recruited everyone that I knew. My sister worked there. That's how she met her husband. They met through Blockbuster.
Oh my God, the romance of a century.
Shout out Heather and Keith. They just had their first baby, Willow.
Not Blockbuster.
Buster for short.
She's too cute for that name.
She is. She's really cute. Yeah, so I decided in my 17-year-old brain that I was only going to get a job if it was at Blockbuster. I don't know why I had hard and fast rules, but I did. And so I was hired. I worked for Blockbuster for 7.5 years. I left in 2007, started in 1999. And over the course of time, Danielle would come home for summer break. And so I recruited her. And
but I tried to work there before. I think either if it wasn't senior year of high school, it was freshman year when I was coming back home for the summer. And I'm telling you, there was a psychological test. They asked you, Jackie. There's not a lot of things I can remember.
Maybe
but
they
I
were
remember
pranking you.
it was just question because I remember a friend of ours also tried to apply and she couldn't get in. And you would have to go onto the store, onto their computer and do it. And every time you wanted to apply to a different store, you had to go to that store and apply. It wasn't like a universal thing. So when I tried to apply at Jackie's store, they were full, they didn't have any more room. So I think I had to go apply at 2 other Blockbusters before I got into the system. Once you're in the system, you can go and transfer. So for the first part of my Blockbuster life, I was not working with Jackie. And then later on, I worked with her, which I'm sure she fully regrets because a bitch had too much attitude and she was my manager.
There were points where I was just like, I might get a phone call about Danielle today from the district manager because she would. There was one time, this customer was legit giving her attitude and he was a jerk. And so he made the cup motion for his change, and she looked at him dead in the eye and slammed the change on the counter and turned around and walked away. I'm like, oh, fuck. Can we curse on
amount of
this
times
podcast?
I wish I could have done that at Starbucks. Like,
I'm a petty
like when
bitch.
people just put their money on the counter and you're just like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
They're some of these customers like were real a-holes. There was one time I just left the register. I was just like, fuck it. You want to act like you own Blockbuster, then you rent your movie by yourself.
Granted,
Oh my
we
God,
did
yes.
work the majority of the time in Boca Raton. So it was like next level Louis Vuitton wallet, hundreds spilling out of it, but like I'm not
Can
paying
you
the
break this?
$1.25
Yeah.
restocking fee.
Yeah.
Oh
It
my
was-
God.
Rich and privilege.
Yeah.
You know how there's that Bad and Bougie song?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
That's
the
them.
Starbucks I worked at was in an affluent-ish area of the Bay Area, and you would think like they're like, oh wow, that's you guys raised your prices? Yes, I raised the price of the cinnamon dulce latte. No, I mean, I guess like I'm just pressing buttons, lady. Okay,
Yeah.
Just are you gonna pay for it or not? Like, get in your Tesla and be happy. Like,
Exactly.
I wasn't good at, well, I wasn't bad at my job, but I didn't really like that, dealing with the people as much. But I sold the hell out of those
membership cards.
membership things that we had. The
Like the-
rewards.
Yeah.
I was
Blockbuster
wheeling and
rewards.
dealing. I was like, oh, let me see what I can do with these numbers for you real quick.
I would never be good at anything like that.
I was never, they're like, your numbers are way down. I'm like, sucks to suck, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if people want it, they'll ask for it. Don't have me ask people. All right, ladies. So our podcast is obviously a journey of us going on this deep dive of an actor or actress through their early roles in blockbuster hits. This season, if you don't know, is about Jennifer Lopez. So, Danielle, Jackie, we want to know a few things. We have a few J-Lo questions for you. Do you remember any of her movies being like really big rentals at Blockbuster or popular?
I know Made in Manhattan was pretty popular. Were we there when Monster in Law came out?
I'm sure we were.
Yeah, I think that I can remember.
2005.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty popular, that one. Well, I
But
might
Shall
not.
We Dance? Because we were
Yes.
in like
Oh, yeah,
an area where
older-
we got an older clientele.
Yep,
Mhm.
that one was huge.
See, this confirms
Um,
mine and Puff Daddy's theory that she is a TV rental movie queen.
I
She-
mean, in my own personal life, my family, Anaconda, anytime it was on HBO, no matter where you were in the house, like everyone congregated and we would sit and watch it. Every single time we flipped to HBO and Anaconda was on. We have watched that movie so many times and we cannot explain the phenomenon that happened.
I was going to ask
just
why.
did.
What's so special?
Who knows? But it was just, we were all, but I mean, it was family bonding time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so special.
Oh my god. Nothing says family bonding than like a giant snake on the loose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Goblin swabbling.
Took the line right out of my head. All right, so we're gonna steal your game actually and do a little
Oh.
this or that, J-Lo.
Nice.
So, this or that, wedding planner or Made in Manhattan? Danielle.
I already know what Jackie's is going to be, but mine is Made in Manhattan.
Mm,
I know
Wedding
it's-
planner all
yeah.
day, every day.
yes.
I was just mad that Matthew McConaughey was out here lying.
That was Simone.
I can't get.
He
I
had
can't
no
get- I
reason to
can't-
like hold that information
No,
back.
I can't get with that. We started off on a lie. You what are you gonna leave me at the altar when we get married? Nah, I'm
Yep.
cool.
Ralph Fiennes was just too stiff for me in Made in Manhattan.
But he had money, and I'm okay with that.
But he didn't recognize her when she's cleaning his toilet, like, and it's not like she's ugly.
Come
then.
on, rich people
I'm
don't
just
pay
saying.
attention to
I'm
the
just
health. Come on now.
I'd rather have the doctor lie to me about his engagement. Well, he didn't lie. He just didn't bring it up.
Girl, bye.
Next question, Monster-in-Law or The Backup Plan?
Monster-in-Law. I love Jane Fonda
Yeah, their
and anything
chemistry.
she does.
Yeah.
She's an OG. We like Grace and Frankie
Oh
a
my God, I
lot.
love them.
Yeah, Monster-in-Law for me, even though everybody kind of hates the backup plan, but
Yeah.
I secretly like it.
Well, you're on
Sorry.
your no, don't apologize. You I
I'm
love
on my
that.
own.
I love that. But yeah, you're definitely on your own with
No, you're not. You're actually not the first person to tell me that. I have a friend, Isabel,
yeah.
and she was like, "Oh my God, that's like one of my favorite like comfort
Well-
movies." And when I watched it, I was texting her. I was like, "What? Why?" But you know, people like what they like.
It's not
so-
my favorite, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That's
we
all. Yeah, I
feel
get it.
pretty strongly on that one. So next one. This one's a Bennifer question.
Ooh.
Geely or Jersey Girl?
Jersey Girl.
Jersey Girl.
Okay.
We like Kevin Smith a lot in this
We do.
house.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. We talked about that last time.
Yeah. And George Carlin and even Liv Tyler. Like, it's just the
Great
cast
cast.
is
Solid movie.
really, really good.
Yeah.
But I love listening to your episode and how like you kind of went into how the media played a role into them having to edit the movie. Like I didn't realize how much they had to do to wipe away the Bennifer remnants, you know?
Miramax was afraid of the stain, the Bennifer stain that was going to have on that movie.
Damn.
What a tragedy. But I say we start a petition that Kevin Smith release the director's cut.
Yeah.
He's
He has
always
it.
on social, and he said he wants to call it Jersey Girl the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
If they'll let him release it. Because after you talked about that, I had to go like do my research. And I was like, dude knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
Every step of the way, he knows exactly what angle to play.
Yes. And he
Mhm.
gave Bennifer their name, their moniker.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's
I'm just-
right there in the thick of it, too.
I'm just glad him and Ben Affleck are friends again because those
Yeah.
are some dark times when they
Mhm.
stopped talking to each other.
Yeah, and I'm glad he's healthy. And,
Yeah.
you know, he's got his health together. Because
And Clerks 3 is coming.
Yay.
yes, we're excited for that too. All right. So
Next
now-
question, Selena the movie or Selena the series on
Are
Netflix?
y'all this is a joke, right?
When
This
I
gotta
asked
be a
on
joke.
Twitter, the series won actually. So
Because
That's
y'all
some
you must have some
shit.
young children on
Yeah,
your
you got
Twitter.
some Gen Zers following you.
I don't know.
In all honesty, I didn't even bother watching the series because it's just
Leave it alone.
yeah, just leave it alone. It's
Yeah.
perfect as it is.
I wish they did a documentary instead, but
Yeah, but I think we'll never really get the full deets on everything because of the family.
Mhm.
Like it's kind of like Aaliyah. Well, I think Aaliyah's situation is probably 10 times worse, but the family will not let like all the dirty laundry come out
Yeah.
and stuff,
Yeah.
the real stuff. I feel like we're only scratching the surface of like who we knew Selena was because of her
yeah, and they
family.
won't even let Chris like get involved in the
Right.
love aspect of it. And his book is amazing, so like shame on them for that. But
Yeah. So Selena the movie 100%. I did watch half of the series, but I didn't finish.
I live in Austin, Texas, so like Selena is a national treasure. And so, I mean, I have friends that have bags, the cups, the t-shirts, like
Oh.
everything. Like you cannot touch Selena. And I think JLo did such a good job that you can't touch JLo as Selena either.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the series is just like, no thanks, we're good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will commend the series for giving a little more context of like pre them blowing up, like them as kids and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then I will say that when we watched the movie for the podcast, I did not cry, and usually I do. Like, it really fucks me up. I did get depressed per usual because I'm just like, oh, she's so young, and I'm older than she is, and look what she did. But when I watched the series, the ending fucked me up. I was like, damn, I know what happens. Why?
Yes.
I feel like that movie though, I have like a special place in my heart when it comes to YouTube because that was the movie I discovered you guys on. Like,
oh, really?
I
You want
still
to tell that story?
it's
Because
not
I've never,
much-
I don't know how this happened.
I still like honestly, I really don't know how it happens. Like I
It's
don't
kismet.
know if I discovered you on Instagram or on Twitter, but I saw your pages and then I was like, oh, this is so cool. I love like your artwork and everything. And so then I went to just go listen and it had the Selena episode in 2 parts. And I was like, oh my God. And I thought you guys were so like professional and just like had really great ideas and passionate. I was like, I love them. So
Aw.
then I went into your DMs and was like, let's be friends, okay?
Yes. I
As
definitely remember asking you about like your social. I was like, oh my God, your social media is amazing. How are you doing all this stuff?
It's like, go on.
Yeah. But it's funny because Selena episode I get kind of antsy about because I'm like, I feel like I dominated those 2 parts and just nerded out too much. So I'm like, it's not my finest work. But
No, I thought you guys did a great job, like both of you. I didn't feel like, because there are some podcasts where I listen and I'm like, that person doesn't let their other co-host talk or, no, you guys, it was great because there's so many indie podcasts and not, I don't want to sound mean, but not all of them are good.
yeah.
I meet a ton and they're super nice people and we talk and we're connected, but like, will I listen to their podcast every week? Probably not.
Yeah. I feel
Unfortunately.
you.
But you guys, I was like, oh, this is fun. It was cool. I like it.
Oh,
That's
I do
high
want to.
praise.
I do want to share my friend text messaged me this morning and said, and she loves Selena, by the way. She's one of my Selena stans. Jackie, I really loved the Love and Basketball episode. I haven't seen it in so long and I'm rewatching. I think before I wasn't too into it, but I love it now. I love the guests y'all had on the podcast. They had some great feedback and banter with y'all.
Aw,
Go ahead, say it.
that's high praise.
It is Jackie's little group. They're very honest. So
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
they every week
Yes.
I'm just waiting for them to give their feedback for that
Be
week.
like, what the hell was that? And then I said that you guys, I explained how your podcast kind of the format was, and she said it sounds so awesome. I have it saved to start listening to it. So
Oh,
begin to follow
rad.
it.
Thank
Yay.
you. We love that. All right, back to Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
If you had my love or love don't cost a thing.
I'm gonna go with If You Had My Love, only because like I remember seeing the video so fresh in my head when on MTV and just being like, oh, that's an actor. That's Jennifer Lopez. She's singing and dancing now. Okay. And I liked the video. So
Mhm.
I think I'm going Love Don't Cost a Thing.
It's a
Yeah.
hard one.
Yes.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Bravo to both. I love it all. So
Next one is also a song, this or that. I'm Real, and it can be the original version or the Ja Rule.
I was going remix. when
Oh,
I
you're
wrote
going
that,
Ja Rule.
sorry.
Okay, all right, that's it. All right. I'm Real, Ja Rule remix or All I Have.
okay. Is All I Have the one with LL Cool J?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys didn't change it to the remix, that I would have done I'm Real. But because you did it to the remix, I want All I Have.
Oh,
I'm
color me
going I'm
intrigued.
Real.
Mm.
Mhm.
I'm with Danielle here because the haters have ruined the I'm Real remix for me.
Oh, because of the vocal thing.
Yes, which Ja Rule just shut them down, but it doesn't matter because people just love to hate on stuff anyways. Yes.
It was interesting to find out that because of her remix, they had to change how they were doing the Billboard charts. I did not know that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing that I hate about haters is that like she has like a good amount of like little like historic things that like no one else has done, or things have been made or changed because of something that she's done. And I mean, sure, you can say she can't sing, but like the woman has impact. So
Yeah.
I mean,
that is what it is.
it goes to the same of Madonna and Janet Jackson and even Britney. Like, I'm not going to see them because they have the vocal range of a Whitney. I'm going to see the dancing, the performing. They giving me a show, and I like that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
too.
paying for.
Me too.
Couldn't have said it better. So, final questions. Just kind of open-ended. Do you guys have a favorite J-Lo movie? Is there something that you really love about her, or she's kind of inspired you, or anything like that?
I have, it's not a criticism. It's just a reflection. Her character when she guest starred on How I Met Your Mother was such a wasted opportunity. Like, that character was ridiculous and I hated it. And I'm like, you have J-Lo and the best you give her is like this lady who wrote a book, and so she drops like sexual innuendos the entire time to get you to like her. It was terrible. And I wish she deserved better in that guest spot.
She
feel
always
like-
deserves better.
I feel like How I Met Your Mother did really fucked up a lot with their guest stars. Like when they had Britney, when they had Katy Perry on, I was just like, what? I feel like when Friends had people on, they did such a good job of like developing them. Do I have a favorite JLo movie? That is a hard question because I would say it's probably between Out of Sight and Monster-in-Law. I like Monster-in-Law so much because it's not like a rom-com. It's just a female-driven movie that feels relatable, you know?
It's kind of a female comedy.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I like that JLo could hold her own, not missing a beat with the likes of
Wanda
Fonda.
Sykes.
with Wanda. You know, that's what I was trying to get out, but I was like, oh, I should probably say Jane Fonda first. But yeah, the two of them, 100%. So
I will say my favorite JLo movie is Enough.
Ooh.
I just really love certain aspects of it and how she wasn't going to be a victim. And I just really love that. Like when she wrapped her hand with all those rings on it, I was like, yes, girl, yes, you got a plan and you're executing it. I like that.
Yes.
I was inspired by her character in The Wedding Planner because she was so overly prepared for anything. She had like her little kit with all of her things. And so when I was a teacher, my coworkers called me Inspector Gadget because if anyone ever needed anything, I had it in my classroom.
Yep.
So I really did. She inspired me to just always be prepared.
yeah.
I love that. Wow. I don't even think I have like a great answer like that. So A+ to you, Teacher Jackie. And you, Danielle.
Thanks.
All right. So I think it's time that we get this party started.
Let's kick it off.
All right, everyone. If you don't know, now you know. I'm Bria, and I too would have a hard time tasting JLo's cookies and never being able to taste them again.
I love that so much.
Oh boy. And I'm Simone. As y'all know, I'm a teacher and a true crime lover, but boy oh boy, did this movie play a fucking doozy on me, and it is a frustrating doozy at that one. So I rewatched this movie with Bria, and I think for maybe about a half of it, I was standing up, just like, just like frustrating, like pacing to myself.
I don't know why that made me think of like Bowser or somebody.
Just like,
Oh my god. Yes, that is very, very true. There were lots of moments of standing up or like, what? Or so, if you don't know, today's episode will chat about Jennifer Lopez and the 2015 thriller The Boy Next Door. So, let's take a trip back to January of 2015.
Oh, if we could really go back.
Oh my god, I don't know.
Right? Let's get into some pop culture. Oh my god, there were so many viral songs this year. So, 2 words. Hotline Bling. Also,
Yes.
Hello from the Other Side. And Is It Too Late Now to Say Sorry? Ladies, what do you think about these big hits from 2015?
It's so weird. Like time moves weird
Yeah.
because it feels like, didn't that just come out like
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm old. Gosh, Hotline Bling. All I remember is J-Lo doing that dance performance at, was it the AMAs to Hotline Bling?
Oh,
It was
I
part of
know.
it.
I
You've
need to
got, tell me.
research that.
You guys haven't seen that?
I
No,
don't think I
seriously.
have.
was that the one with the shoe, the giant shoe, or was that another?
Oh, that's the
one?
Louboutin performance, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was she didn't even sing. She just got on the stage and did a full out number to all the popular songs at that
Oh.
time. She did Bitch Better Have My Money by Riri.
Mhm.
She did like a bunch of like a melody and she was doing all the dances and she had like that big old winter coat at the end.
Oh, we
See,
love a
she
friend.
recapped 2015 music for us, and I didn't even know that. Love me.
You guys gotta find it. You guys gotta find it.
Oh, I'm watching that after the. In other news, we have some big breakups, and one that's pretty. It pertains to this podcast a little bit. So Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert broke up. And Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale, which I didn't know happened at the same time, which makes me like
Sus.
Yes.
Why, Gwen? Why Blake Shelton?
Yeah,
He
I
is
know.
the most whitest white man in America. Like
He
he's
looks
so
like-
boring.
He looks like he doesn't shower about once a week,
Yeah.
and he like
Gracie.
he doesn't brush his teeth on the reg. Like
Mm.
those are the vibes I get from Blake Shelton.
Yes. There's a podcast out there. I think it's called like the Who Weekly or something, but it's like
Mhm.
it's basically this like pop culture, like what's happening and like celeb gossip news. And that year, either that year or the year after, Blake Shelton won like Sexiest Man of the Year.
Yes.
And when they had announced it, they're like, "Who? What?
Yeah.
How?"
People have like
All those.
I'm done with people. You're stop trying to put these gross people down my throat. I don't think they're
Mhm.
attractive. Even
Mhm.
John Legend. Eh.
John Legend was a bit stretched
What?
with his Arthur looking stuff.
Yeah. Like, who's making this list? I could give you like 30 people right now. My garbage man is
Right?
hotter than these two guys. They need to stop.
We're gonna petition to have your garbage man be on People's Sexiest Person.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
100%.
Oh my god, that's funny. So speaking of, this is a great segue to our last couple that broke up because a former Sexiest Man Alive, J-Lo's Sexiest Man Alive, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner broke up also in 2015. So leading a long road back to J-Lo.
My tie-in was the garbage man part because I love Jennifer Garner and all the shit that man did. I was like, you gonna let this dude from Boston come and do this to you, Jen? Come on, girl. We alias though. I was so mad. I hated
So
him.
mad.
Yeah.
His
I
drunk
mean,
ass.
That's love because the stuff she put up with him and saw him through till
Yeah.
like, the end, and even now probably.
Yeah.
Who knows?
She is a precious angel.
Yeah.
She is.
Protect her at all costs. I love her
Yes.
so much.
Yes. And even though our podcast this season does obviously focus on Jennifer Lopez, we would never, ever pit the two together and say, like, who is
Never.
better because we adore Jennifer Garner too.
Yes,
Yeah.
we love women. Okay, fuck
Yes.
the men.
Women
It's their
support
faults
women.
usually.
Yes.
Yes, just the garbage men that we don't like.
Except yours. Your garbage men's good, hopefully.
Yes.
All right, so a viral moment that happened was the blue and black, or is it white and gold
Oh,
dress
Lord.
that was everywhere on social media.
Remember that?
I know, I was like, wow, that was that year? Jeez, like, we really had nothing better to do.
Oh, we didn't.
No. And it just tells me we know nothing. Our brains do whatever it wants. Like,
Right?
what?
Yep.
Also viral, Katy Perry's Left Shark left a big impression on us after her Super Bowl performance.
I was just like that, after Janet Jackson's Nipplegate, fuck you, Justin Timberlake. We were struggling there for a while to get some good Super Bowl
Well, they didn't want to do
performances.
like any pop performances. They had like a string of like rock bands after
was so
that. I remember
bad.
like The Who and like I think Aerosmith
Maybe
and
Green
stuff.
Day might have done Super Bowl one year. Nope.
I don't
Okay.
remember. I feel like I
Did
would have
Prince
enjoyed that.
do
I think so.
one year?
No.
Metallica.
Well, yes, he did. He had my college band was there. That was a good one.
Oh,
That was a
cool.
good one. Yeah. What was the one with the one with Bruno Mars
And Beyonce.
Beyonce.
That was
and
Coldplay's Super
Coldplay.
Bowl.
It was. But they must have read the comments that we didn't want that. So they fixed it. Thank God.
and then Maroon 5 was
garbage.
Yeah.
They
Boring.
disappoint me so much.
Yeah.
I love their first album, and their second album's not half bad, but like their trajectory, I'm just like, why? Like, where are the She Will Be Loves? Like,
If there's any case, because if you don't know, I'm a conspiracy nut. So if there's any case for me to say someone sold their soul, it's Maroon 5.
ooh,
Agreed.
I'm not a huge conspiracy nut. I'm like, why can't things just happen the way they did? But this, I believe, because Adam Levine is such like kind of a fame whore. Like,
Oh
once
my
he got
God. Yeah. If you've
fit
seen
and
his
tattoos.
personal evolution since the start with his like little Caesar gel, like flat down cut and She Will Be Loved. And then to what he is now, he lives for the applause.
Yeah.
he picked a fight with Lady Gaga at one point.
Really?
I'm gonna find it.
Why? Why, Adam?
Something about that don't make sense, and it's probably not soul to devil. Some ain't right. Some ain't
Yeah.
right.
Something in the buttermilk ain't clean,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Phaedra Parks would say.
Oh, he tweeted, "Ugh, recycling old art for a younger generation doesn't make you an artist. It makes you an art teacher."
The fuck.
Mr. Moves Like Jagger. The
Yeah.
like
Also,
pot me kettle.
why are you putting on teachers in this one? Butthole.
Right?
We have a hard enough time as it is.
Yeah. Bet you couldn't do it for a day. Couldn't
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
substitute teacher.
Probably
Gaga
not.
replied, "Uh-oh, guys, the art police is here."
Oh, shout out to Gaga for
Yes.
that
Oh
deep
my God.
burn. In other pop singer news, Ariana Grande licks a donut this year, and everyone is obsessed with it. Like,
Never why did we care about that?
So I thought about this incident recently.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Because now it would be like,
well, yeah,
Yeah, right. Like she's out trying to kill someone.
yeah.
But
murderer.
in these COVID streets.
Yeah.
But I'm like, at the time, it was probably just like a dumb, immature kid doing something dumb and immature. And she just happened to be famous. So it like made national news.
Yeah.
So did she lick it and put it back? Is that what the problem was?
I think it was like sitting on the tray on top of the counter. And because she's what, like 4'10", like she's a small girl. So she had to almost, I envision, like be on her tippy toes. And she kind of did this little like cute little gopher stance in her little sweater all bunched up like this. And she just goes and like puts the tip of her tongue on it. And
I'm
then
mad at your sweatshirt sleeves right now.
and then like stands back. So, and then I don't think they end up buying it, or she doesn't
Yeah.
end up taking it or something like that. So
They didn't buy it.
I don't know. I mean, she clearly has the money to just buy the fucking donut if she wanted it, but
She could
yeah,
buy the
that
donut
was
shop.
odd.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna
was
put
odd.
this in a category of weird things that both black and white celebrities do. Although the tally of the black celebrities doing the same is 0, I'm gonna put it in that category.
It could happen to anyone.
Anyone.
Yeah.
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 It's like just a stupid, like impulsive, like, hey, I'm gonna do this because I'm waiting for my donut.
It's
Yeah.
so funny because it's never come across my mind. Never. Never.
I remember when it hit the celebrity gossip circuit, and I was like, "This is news. We care about this."
It was
I
a
mean,
slow news cycle.
now we would care about it because it's like
Yes.
COVID times. But like back then, I'm like, who gives a shit?
Well, I don't think she would do it now. So
I hope not.
I think she
She's-
learned a lot.
She's a traumatized woman. I pray for her, honestly.
Yes.
Hurt people
also-
hurt people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also am married to someone that like routinely eats shit he shouldn't eat. Like a brownie fell in the gutter, he picked it up, dusted it off, and ate it. So like,
Mm.
He's like, what's his face? Bill Murray in Osmosis Jones.
yeah, he just eats. We were walking through a parking lot, and
No,
someone
Jackie. No,
all Ken's business out here in these streets.
but it's your
It's-
business too.
I didn't eat it. I have no shame. Like I was like, your butthole's gonna fall out one day from eating all this. He found a container of sushi. I guess someone had like put down to get into their car, and he opened it up, and he's like, "Well, the avocado isn't brown yet, so it must still be fresh." Ate the sushi, parking lot sushi, gutter brownies.
You must
I
really,
really
love
do.
him.
I wrote a note to myself. Must talk to Ken.
Oh, he will defend himself too. Like
my
he's like,
God.
whatever.
Wow.
He doesn't like to waste food.
That's like on the news when I saw that lady washing her boyfriend husband's pillows that look like stained
Oh
tea
God,
bags.
yes.
And people are just like,
I had to explain to a boyfriend why you had to have pillowcase covers on top of a pillowcase. He didn't understand.
yeah.
We have clean
Nice.
pillows and clean sheets at my
That's
house.
because of you.
Anything I am responsible for, we're good.
Yeah. you can't stop him from eating.
Yeah, I'm like,
He's grown.
And
He can make those choices.
and I looked at him like, are you fucking serious right now? And he's like, it's happening.
I'm going to
Oh
send you
my
that
God.
special mouth rinse that they have. It kills all sorts of bacteria, so you'll be good to go with him.
Yeah.
You can
I'm like, well, brush your
Eat the
teeth.
streets alive and he'll be all right.
All right.
Sorry.
So
Sorry.
some big movies come out, series movies. 50 Shades of Grey, which I think pertains to kind of The Boy Next Door, and The Force Awakens. Star Wars comes back big time. A big crime jock comes out. Making a Murderer is all the rage on Netflix.
Mhm.
I watched that like I think one Christmas break or something,
Mhm.
and I was just like, oh my God.
That
feel
the
like-
twists and turns.
Yeah.
I feel like you could literally put them all together and it would still make a really cool movie name and describe all of the movies. 50 Shades of Grey, The Force Awakens, Making a Murderer.
Yes. I mean,
All
I
of
can
that.
see it. I see it. Yes.
And I don't know why, but I really enjoy 50 Shades of Grey for what it is.
Mm.
Like it's just
It's smut, baby.
it
It
is.
is.
And it's enjoyable. And I put it on when like there's nothing else to watch.
Did you read the books or just the
I
movie?
did. I read the books.
Okay, well, if you
Favorite-
like smutty books like that, I would say check out this series called The Boss by, I think it's like Abigail something. It's
Ooh.
fairly cheap. But Mara Wilson, Matilda, she tweeted
Oh.
and she's like, 50 Shades of Grey is like not that great. Like the writing's not that great. If you
No,
wanna
it's
read a-
terrible.
if you want to read a book about BDSM and, you know, smutty shit, here, read this. So it's like, thank you, Matilda. And I read it. And
Which is so funny because Matilda loved reading.
I
Yeah.
know, right? I
That
told
witch
her
is-
Listen does.
Pervert.
She's just casting her magical spell to this day.
But yeah, I love her on Twitter. But yeah, that book series is great. So I will
Excellent.
send you what it looks like. So but I didn't watch 50 Shades of Grey until a couple years ago. My supervisor actually was like, "Oh my god, I'm in love with the guy in the movies," and I was just like, "I don't see what you see, sis."
No.
it's not that
Like
great.
no one is. She's not, in my opinion, very attractive. He's just okay. Like there's nothing about the movie I should like, and I still put it on all the
Yeah.
time.
I wish Charlie Hunnam, like if he was in it like he was supposed to be.
Yes.
Jax Teller. No, Simone.
No, I'm trying to think of who is he from Sons of Anarchy or the True
Yes.
Blood series?
So from Sons of
Sons
Anarchy.
of
Oh,
Anarchy.
okay.
Although Alexander Skarsgård, if he was in it too.
He could get it.
'cause,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I love him in anything. Like
Same.
even in Big Little Lies, I was like, "Oh, you're terrible. God damn, but you look
Nope.
good."
As soon as he laid a hand on
On
my
him,
angel
yeah.
Nicole Kidman, I said, "Die, you piece of shit, die."
Yes.
What
I
movie
mean-
was he in where he played a nerd
Oh.
or like a goofy
He's played like
role?
dad weird, like he was in the movie adaptation of The Giver, and I only know that because I show that once a year to my class after we read the novel, and he was kind of like a bland little soft dad in that movie.
I
He
can't imagine that. He's such a
It-
hottie.
now
I
I have to like it's gonna bother me. It was a
The
movie.
IMDb deep dive, baby.
Yep. It was a movie where it was like he was a prince or something. Oh, The Long Shot with Charlize Theron and Seth
Oh, I barely remember him in that one.
Rogen.
Yeah.
And he was like so nerdy and he had like this really weird laugh and stuff. And they
That's
were
good
like
acting,
supposed
then.
to, yeah, like I was like, oh, he's so gross. And I'm like, but he's not. Like, I don't know what's happening right now because I love him, but
Yeah.
I don't love him in this.
I love
Really
his whole
sorry.
family. His whole family is
The
great actors.
Skarsgård family is pretty blessed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of families, you guys are great with these segues. Bruce Jenner becomes Caitlyn Jenner and makes her debut as a woman on Vanity Fair in 2015, which was huge for trans rights, despite Caitlyn's politics now.
I was
and then,
just
but-
gonna look. The only thing I want to say about this subject is go watch the dinner that Katy Perry had
with Amanda Seals.
with Amanda Seals, and that's it.
Yes,
That's all I
I
have to
second
say.
that.
I feel like I should be making a list of all the things I need to watch.
Take notes, baby. Take
Me
notes.
too, me too.
No, yes, Amanda Seals shut that
She
shit down
she
efficiently.
she spoke the truth to her at the time. Yes, she was a her.
So this one's kind of a big one. I just thought this was really like impactful in terms of pop culture. All that other stuff is like, oh, that was interesting, that was cute. But this is like history. So in June, Misty Copeland became the first African American woman named principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater, just days after becoming the first African American woman to dance Swan Lake at the Metropolitan Opera House. And additional highlights to this year for her include a documentary about her life that premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, a 2-week starring turn in the Broadway revival of On the Town, a Time cover, and a spot on their 100 most influential people list, and a place on Barbara Walters' 10 most fascinating people list. I mean, talk about having like the year of your life. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I love this. I
Amazing.
love this so much.
I love her.
When I was a teacher, we did a whole, like every day for Black History Month, we featured a different influential person of color. And when we got to her, the kids were just like, all the little girls are like, a ballerina and she looks like me. It was just like so perfect and so wonderful. And she's written children's books. She is amazing. And she is such a influence on especially youth.
yeah.
I think when these kind of things happen, like for her, proud of her, she is the moment, no shade whatsoever. But I really think these institutions at this point, we are in 2021. At that time, we're in 2015. The fact that we're still having firsts
Yeah.
Oh,
is
yes.
just appalling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that when it's the first, it's not like kicking the door down. Okay, we're going to start fixing some of our stuff. It almost feels like a game at this point, and I don't even get excited anymore because what are we really talking about? You're telling me you're proud to say that out of all these years that you've been an institution, in 2015 you decided that you obviously could not ignore this woman's talent at all and had to like, it's more exceptions than rules, and it's just frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
I think there should no longer be these firsts anymore. Like, it's
Mhm.
ridiculous for every subsect that we have in this country. It's kind of insane. Sorry, but
No,
that,
I mean
No.
that's straight up facts. I
Well,
mean,
Yeah.
in one of the interviews, JLo talked about how she didn't realize at the time, but the two main cast members were Latino, and it was a small budget film. And she said it probably wouldn't have happened if it was a larger studio film because they're so worried about the what ifs, like what if it's not successful.
yeah.
And so she kind of was able to say, well, it worked. So that's no longer excuse for
Right.
Yeah.
casting limitations.
they keep resetting it, right? Like,
Mhm.
we've proven time and time again as audience members, we will go see anything that's quality. And
Yeah.
why are you not having these same apprehensions about shitty movies? You ever, especially when we worked at Blockbuster, we would watch all the shitty movies and we'd always ask, like, how did this get funded? Right?
Right.
Nobody was
Mhm.
like, oh, we can't have another two Caucasians who don't know how to act be in this movie. No, nobody cares. I think we should have underrepresented people be able to fail as much as
Mhm.
non
Because
Yeah.
people
people of
talk
color.
about that all the time. I mean, I know, like, as a person of color, there's this, like, feeling of, like, I have to work 2 times harder and
Yep.
all that kind of stuff to get half as much. And I think that we have this feeling of we have to be perfect. Like, whatever movie we make, whatever we do, like, even with this podcast, I, like, am like, JLo's great, but I wanted to do Claire Foy, and I was like, I'm black. I should be highlighting, like, black actors and stuff. And of course, I want to do that. That's just inherently me as a black person too, but I can like other stuff. But like, we can also not be perfect. Like, we can also
Yeah.
make a mediocre movie, and that's okay because there's tons of like mediocre movies with just white people, but no one's
Yep.
like, is this gonna do well or
Right.
not? It's just like, no, just give them a shot. Or like, or the fact that like the creators of Game of Thrones could pitch the show and not have like a fucking plan and have it outlined, but someone like Misha Green, who wrote Lovecraft Country, has
So-
a whole outline
Yeah.
of what she wants to do, and they cancel it. And they were nominated for so many awards for the show, and
Such
they cancel it.
bullshit.
They
Like-
could not, come on. Like, when I saw that TV show, when I was watching, I was like, I cannot believe this show is on. My sister and I were just talking about this because we love it. But at the end of that movie, I mean, that TV show, the way that they left it, and spoiler alert, pause and move 5 seconds ahead. The fact that at the end that Black people had all the power and of witchcraft and magic, like, there's no way. When you saw that,
Yeah.
like what she mapped out, there was no way, especially the unrest that we had at the beginning of this year. Hell no. They were like, okay, we gave you guys a bone, but there's no way. There's no
Yeah.
way we're having this on TV.
Yeah, but things like that, like, I get it. It's super frustrating in that respect. So I am excited to though talk about more about Ryan Guzman and JLo in this movie. But let's get into how much this movie cost and the reviews about this lovely film.
So, Bria, you had mentioned that the budget for this movie was pretty low, which is true. Yeah, the budget for this was around $4 million, an estimate. It was shot in about 23 days. Opening weekend in US and Canada was just about 15 million, and that closed on January 25th, 2015. But the total domestic but the total gross worldwide was $52.4 million.
Wow.
So to have a budget of 4 million and then to gross totally of 52 million, this is like financially one of her most successful movies, but ironically one of her most shitted on movies.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And like shot in 23 days.
That's
like
crazy.
that's insane. And she was saying that like some movies with that are huge budgets, they'd shoot like one scene, maybe two a day. And she's like, we were shooting 5 or 6 scenes in a
Yeah.
day because we had to wrap this shit up pretty quick. And there were no luxuries. There was no like extra craft service. It was like get in, get out, get done.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
time is money on a movie set. Like,
Yep.
the longer it takes to shoot, the more
Right.
locations, all that kind of stuff, the more money you're spending. So,
And
I
there's
mean,
some good practical magic or practical effects that
Mhm.
were on this set. So the fact that again, like that this movie is only filmed in 23 days, I was like, dang, like they accomplished quite a bit.
Yeah.
They did.
It makes me
and she
rethink.
produced it.
Yeah, her
Mhm.
partnership with Benny Medina is one of the smartest things that they both did, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the early days, she definitely had like a vision of what she really wanted her career to be, but he has been like her bulldozer to kind of make it happen. And they've done a lot together,
Oh, yeah.
honestly. Yeah.
He's like her best friend and
Yeah.
her brother. He's like always around. Like,
Yeah. Doesn't he work with Will Smith too?
He, I think, I'm not sure if they still do, but he did. And he is also the nexus for the Fresh Prince. Like, that's based on his life.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
he is a legend in and of himself, but she wouldn't have known him if it weren't for Puff Daddy. So,
I'm glad he was good for something.
yes. So Simone, you said that this movie is like one of her most shitted on movies. So I'm very
Yes.
curious.
Besides Geely, which kind of has become, I don't know if it's like a cult classic, but it's one of those movies that you love to hate. And so therefore people go back and rewatch it. The Boy Next Door almost, I mean, I don't know if it's like too recent to even be deemed a cult classic. I don't know how much time has to pass for a movie to technically be a cult classic, but this movie quickly gained a following, like the movie Showgirls did.
Mhm.
And a lot of people were kind of saying like it's a movie that's so bad that it's actually good. But according to Lil Raj's website, the reviewer for this one, because this is a posthumously Lil Raj world, so the writer review for this one is a woman named Christy Lemire, and she gives The Boy Next Door only 1.5 stars. But the first line of this review, I was double over laughing in that, like, the writing for this review is so good. So the cheese is thick and it smothers everything in The Boy Next Door, but it's never quite gooey or spicy enough. You want an erotic thriller in which a hunky 19-year-old seduces a mom twice his age and then obviously stalks and threatens her to be as over the top as possible. So if you're going to make an R-rated version of what is essentially a Lifetime movie material, you don't want anything resembling restraint.
Ooh. Okay.
So this writer was like, you could have escalated this way more
Yeah.
and it would have been such a better story and a thicker one.
I actually feel like they escalated it too much, but we'll get into that.
Oh yeah. Well, see, yeah, they escalated certain aspects, but then toned the dial down in some others. But Specifically, this writer says Jennifer Lopez stars as a waspily named Claire Peterson, the hottest high school English teacher in the San Fernando Valley, which is like, yeah, like if everyone would be taking the classic lit class at my school if she was a
Yep.
teacher there.
Yep.
But the insane and insanely violent climactic showdown in a burning barn of all places finally gives people what they want. You'll howl, you'll squirm, you'll applaud with disgusted glee, and you'll wish the rest of the film was just that much fun. So overall, if you want to read the entire review, you can go to the Roger Ebert website and look it up yourself. But this writer did, bring up some pretty good points, that there were times where audiences were screaming and shouting. There's times where I'm doing like the Bowser huff in the corner of the room, but I felt like I was doing the Bowser huff in like as a negative part, because there were things that I was just so frustrated and angry about, not that I was doing the Bowser huff of like, oh, they're in this burning barn and like what's gonna happen next and all this stuff. So people were screaming and shouting, but for the wrong reasons in this movie.
So what is this movie about?
All right. So if you have not watched The Boy Next Door, the summary of this film: an AP high school classic lit teacher, Claire Peterson, played by Jennifer Lopez, is in the midst of a separation from her husband Garrett after he was caught cheating with his secretary. As she prepares for a new school year, living on her own with her son Kevin, played by Ian Nelson, she meets 19-year-old Noah Sanborn, played by Ryan Guzman, who moves in next door to help his sick uncle. Noah is now an orphan following a fatal car accident in his family the previous year. Noah befriends Kevin and begins attending his school, where Claire teaches. Noah is drawn to Claire, expressing love for Homer's Iliad. Then begins some subtle hints of sexual tension between the two, and when Claire goes on a miserable double date with her work BFF, Vicky, played by iconic Kristen Chenoweth, she ends the night with some wine and gets a call from Noah to come over and help him cook. Still tipsy, she has dinner with him, during which he unashamedly flirts with her. Despite Claire's hesitation, Noah seduces her and the two have some sex. Realizing her mistake, Claire tries to end the relationship or liaison, but Noah turns violent and obsessive. How will this dangerous liaison end? Will Noah get Claire's cookies? Or will Claire save her family from this violent titty baby fuckboy?
Not my cookies. Oh my God. Well, that was an excellent summary.
Thank you. One of my
Speaking
best.
Summaries. What do we think of the trailer for this movie?
I had thoughts.
Go for it, Jackie.
So I was in a former life as a school teacher, and they always teach you that when you're de-escalating a student or trying to give them power, you present yourself lower than they are. So in every single scene, in the trailer, he's like hovering over JLo, like showing his dominance. So I appreciated that. And then also like the breathing and then like the fade to black cuts as like the pulse of the movie or of the trailer.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a really, really well done trailer, especially for what they had.
Yeah. Danielle?
I remember when I saw the trailer when this movie was coming out, and I was just like, I've seen this before. And I think that happens sometimes with some JLo movies where and look, in Hollywood, we recycle a lot of the same stories over and over again. But it just felt like, why would I do this redux that I know is probably not going to be as good as the original? And it seemed kind of corny. So I was just like, pass.
Ooh, burn. Simone.
It's definitely a steamy trailer, and one that gives the basic premise of the movie. I think it gives you the idea that this is a reverse Fatal Attraction story, that it's one it's a story about two attractive people being attracted to each other, but then one doesn't want to be attracted to the other attractive person anymore. And then that other attractive person gets real butthurt about it and angry. And so you know exactly what you're getting into when watching this film, and watching this trailer. You're in this mindset that this is definitely a thriller. And I think I first saw this movie, I might have been like pet sitting. I was definitely alone, like hanging out on the couch with some animals that night when I was watching it and thinking it was corny, but being pleasantly surprised to see Jennifer Lopez in another thriller, because I feel like the last thriller that I had maybe seen her in at that point was enough. And it was good to see her, or not good, but I really enjoyed her character Slim in Enough. And that episode we talked so much about her like whole character arc, but this movie was definitely lacking some kind of major character arc for Claire.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be honest. The sex had me. Like, I was like, ooh, spicy. I would totally go see this in theaters or, rent this. I now own it. And that would be the pull for me is hot, steamy sex and J-Lo. So,
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, since we have our Blockbuster pals here, would you guys have rented this from?
The question would have been if a customer came in and asked me, because it's a new release, hey, should I go see that new J-Lo movie? I'm like the boy next door. And they're like, yeah. I would say, you know what? Go look in the favorites for Unfaithful. You'll have a better time.
Yes.
Ooh.
I totally made that connection too. We could talk about that more, but yes.
Yep, that's what I would have said.
I would have held off and rented it. I do really, really, really enjoy movies like this. Just anytime someone's stalking someone else, I'm in. I don't care how cheesy it is, how crazy they are. I am in. But I'm not going to pay $13 to go see it. I'm going to wait till it's available at my local Blockbuster store.
Yeah, if we didn't do this movie for the podcast, I would have continued to never see this movie. I never saw it till we were doing this.
Wow.
Oh boy, you sound like Simone with like me.
I'd be okay if I never saw this.
I think maybe Blood and Wine, but we agreed on that. But I don't think I've ever said that really about any other movie where I'm just, The Backup Plan. I would be okay. I would never see that again. All right, so let's get into the cast. So let's talk about Mr. Ryan Guzman, who is actually, let's save him. Let's talk about some of the smaller people first. We have
Aiden Shaw from Sex and the City.
Yes,
John
that's
Corbett's
exactly.
dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bria watches Sex in the City. I never did, and so when I was like, who is that? Like, I was like, he looks like the dad from Home Alone, but like a snatched version. May he rest in peace. But he looked to me like the dad from Home Alone.
Have you?
And Bria's like, do you not know who that is? I was like, nope, sorry.
So you've never seen To All the Boys I Loved Before?
I'd said that too.
No, I've read the book, but not the show.
Simone, first of all, add this to your list.
Okay.
The first one, especially. The second and third, they're okay. But the first one, I could watch it over and over again. Raising Helen, no? Add that to your list.
Okay.
Jackie and I love a Kate Hudson and a Gary Marshall movie.
Okay.
And then My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Oh, okay. I've seen that, but I don't remember his part.
He's the husband.
He was the main guy.
Maybe it's because he has short hair now, but he's the guy with the long hair that gets married.
And just a side note, in my best friend's wedding, they were going to have Julia Roberts' character meet a guy at the wedding, and they filmed it. John Corbett was the guy, and it didn't test well, so they cut it. So
Poor John Corbett.
He's
Oh, it's
fine. His
getting-
career is fine. So
Yeah, but he's always getting the shorter end of the stick sometimes.
is.
Like,
Yeah.
especially
But I
as
will-
Aiden.
And yeah, anytime I see him, he is never John Corbett. He is always Aiden from Sex and the
Yeah.
City.
Well, there's one movie that I was just like, I did not see him as Aiden, and that's Raise Your Voice with Hilary Duff. And he plays a kooky teacher in that movie. Real corny stuff. But if you're a Hilary Duff fan, you should watch that one too.
Oh.
That seems up his alley though. That doesn't surprise me. Like
Yeah.
kooky teacher, furniture maker.
It was him probably rolling out of the bed. That was it.
But yeah, so John Corbett plays Garrett Peterson, Claire's ex, and then we have her son played by Ian Nelson, little baby face,
Baby face who
actually looked like a high schooler.
Yes, he actually looked like a high
Yeah.
schooler. Ryan Guzman, attractive, but definitely looked like a 27-year-old playing a 27-year-old playing a high schooler. Like,
yes.
it took a lot out of me. And I know that that's how they made it like PC for their characters to like consensually be together if they're playing him off as a 19-year-old, but he looks like a man to me. But I like the casting for her son, Kevin, who, you know, just conveniently can control his asthmatic attacks when, you know, when it matters. So
Control your breathing. Control your breathing.
Were they asthma or like?
I think he
'cause
had
he has
asthma
an
and
EpiPen.
allergies.
Oh,
He had allergies too, but I think he had asthma as well because he had breathing problems. When
yeah,
he got
that like
nervous.
in that boxing scene when he couldn't control his breathing, that EpiPen or something was there to like.
but he broke out in hives. I thought that's why.
I
Because
don't
he
know.
got like really red and stuff. I thought.
But I think that could be set on by a panic attack as well. Like you could literally start having problems. I don't know. I don't know what this fake disease was, but
It was very ambiguous. See, it would make sense if he was like severely allergic to peanuts and then
He ate his mom's cookies.
he ate his mom's cookies or the dude puts
Some
like
peanut oil on
some
his-
peanut
yeah.
oil or peanut butter in his gloves, and so that like kind of gets him
Damn, that's fucked.
sick.
it's something he
Well,
would do. It's something he would do.
Also, shout out to Mr. Hill Harper as Principal Edward Warren.
So when he came onto the scene, I turned to my sister and said, and now that's who mommy would be giving her cookies to. Not this little boy, that grown man right there.
Yeah, he's
Hill
a hot
Harper
principal.
he's
Yeah.
never not looked good. I mean,
No.
And then of course we have our best friend, vice principal Vicky Lansing, R.I.P., played by Kristen Chenoweth. And Jackie, I'm gonna throw this to you because you have Kristen Chenoweth in your background.
I love her so much. And I feel like I could just like carry her around in my pocket and like she would
Yes.
just sing me songs and just make me happy all the time. And I adore her so much. And just from her social media, I think she's just like kooky and wonderful and just wants to make everyone happy. They did her. It's
Speak
not
on
even
it.
a disservice.
Testify.
I don't know what happened with this hair. I'm mad for her.
Yep.
People needed to be fired and they needed to bring in a wig person to
Where's the
like make it look
budget?
right.
Budget my ass. JLo has a glam team with her all the time. JLo, this was your movie. So I can point the finger why we did our girl dirty like this.
I'm sure there are some like stan drag queens that would come in for free and
For
fix this
free.
shit up for her.
Oh my God, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to describe it just based off of the picture in Jackie's background. So they gave our sweet Kristen Chenoweth a wispy queef of a Karen style wig where it's like long bang in the front and super short in the back. And it just like it's a hairstyle and haircut that might like work on a petite woman like Kristen Chenoweth, but it just made her so plain and simple. And as a vice principal with a big personality like that, she just needed something better.
She needed big Southern hair.
She
Curls.
did.
She needed it. They did her so wrong. Her clothes, and the guy. Okay, the guy that they have her, the two guys that they go on that double date with, which automatically I remember from every WB TV show that the guy that JLo was with, and the other guy played on soap operas or whatever. And I was like, these guys are not your age. Kristen, boo boo, I love you, but you're a good. It just didn't look right. They didn't look like they could be together. I'm like, you guys could have gotten some nice, cute, handsome men to look. I was really upset about that. Yeah, they did her so dirty.
It was the budget, but I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of guys who would fake go on a blind date with JLo and Kristen Chenoweth for nothing.
So. I would put on a mustache so quick.
Same. So the beard filter on me. All right. So leaving back to our leading man, Ryan Guzman, who is relatively like a newcomer when this movie comes out.
Yeah, he was most notably noted for being in the Step Up movies.
That's where I saw him, girl. That's where I saw him.
And so I was like, okay, that definitely explains the bod. Because I mean, to objectify, if I may,
yes.
he has a cavernous, deep chest. Like the line that goes in between the pectoral muscles. I was like, I could drive a tech deck through that. Like, it's just amazing. It's amazing. So yeah,
push
he
my
definitely
Hot Wheels down there.
make a little Hot Wheels ramp, you know what I mean? Like going down the middle, up a little ramp at the end for a visual. But like, yeah, no, he's ripped for sure. And I wonder if that's just because he had like a bit of a dancing background or what.
Yeah,
but
he said that the Step Up movies helped him, like he was already in good shape from that for this. But also, I know that back in the day for Out of Sight, Jennifer Lopez had to go to George Clooney's house to audition for her role.
Yes.
And then at some point, I can't remember which movie, but she also had an actor come to her house to audition. And we were like, oh, look at you. Switching it up, boss babe now. And Ryan came to her house to read for this role as well. So
it would have been like, I'm reading for your future boyfriend. Like, why did he not take advantage of this time in her life? Like, she was done with Mark Anthony, right? Like,
she said that she was dating someone all through
Casper. Was it Casper?
Yeah.
Fucking Casper.
But again, Casper is a wispy queef of a person. That maybe
it's true.
I feel like having him as having this movie and having him as a boy toy after would have just been the cherry on top. You know what I mean?
I mean, okay. So let's talk about that, because there were rumors that they were dating, and there was a rumor that she had wanted someone who was single in case it led to something else. And I think that was on her Ryan Seacrest interview, and she's just like, that is not true. I was dating someone, and like, why would I'm auditioning guys and then be like, okay, he might make a good boyfriend afterwards.
JLo's just joking, because that's a thing in Hollywood. They do that. I know Tom Cruise 100% does it.
I mean, she said that happens, but she's like, that's not what happened this time. Like, that's not.
Wait. Hold on. Skirt. Back to that. Tom Cruise, is trying to find his future wife. So he will,
Let me give you the breakdown. He started off his career. He dated Cher.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that was when he had the crooked teeth. I was like, weird.
Oh, yeah.
Then he went on to marry Mimi Rogers, who was a bigger star. So he kept on being with people who were bigger stars. Right. Then he was doing Days of Thunder. And the way that Nicole Kidman kind of talks about that situation, it was almost like an audition, not just to be in the movie, but to be his new girlfriend. And that's what happens every time he's in that transition to have a new movie. And so when it came to Katie Holmes, it was the same situation. He is auditioning, there was, before I got to Katie Holmes, when he was doing
Penelope
Vanilla Sky
Cruz.
and Penelope Cruz,
Penelope
Yep.
Cruz.
and she was on the cusp of like breaking out of her roles, because she had done the Spanish version, or where, I don't know if it where, yeah, she did the Spanish version of Vanilla Sky, or Vanilla Sky was the Americanized version of it or whatever. So
I didn't know
that's
that.
how they found, her. And so she came into that role and they met on the set. And I again, he's just, whenever he's casting for his ladies.
But I feel like that's the Scientology of it all.
Yeah.
Because between Penelope Cruz and Katie Holmes, there's a lady who was in Scientology that like also auditioned, and they groomed her pretty much to date him, and like
it didn't work out.
There was someone.
I forget what happened. I just I listened to it in Leah Remini's book, but but basically she did or said something that was like that the Scientologists didn't like, and they just like pretty much removed her from his life. And like he didn't break up with her, she didn't get to say goodbye, like his kids, all that stuff. And she had been with him for a while, like they had been together technically for a while, and it was just like immediate. And I'm pretty sure she had like a mental breakdown because of that, because in Scientology a lot of stuff that happens in your life is like your fault. It's like, well, what did you do to cause this?
It's very shaming.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry to derail that conversation. I am not surprised, sad to say, but I'm just so enthralled in this. I want to learn more about this because I'm sure. No,
I'm like, it's so fascinating. Yes,
no,
go down that rabbit hole.
I had a scary thing with Scientology once when I was visiting my friend Julie in LA, which that's a whole other story. But that like Hollywood does this like purposefully shipping or coupling people together in hopes, like, I'm sure it's just one of those things where I never thought about it. I'm sure it happens, but like to hear it be said out loud is like,
yeah, you have to look at the, like, when you're on set, I definitely feel like you can't fake some of those emotions. And I get how people actually fall in love on set and stuff like that, and they have real relationships. But a lot of the times it's not a coincidence. They coincide with a movie franchise, or the rumors start circulating on purpose, just so people ship the couples, and then they have an investment in these movies.
They get me.
Because I 100% cannot believe that Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart were a real relationship.
Yeah, that to me was like a media circus.
Yeah, that I mean, and it maybe
Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan met on Step
I think
Up.
they were really in love. Nobody was expecting that movie. It's not, I'm talking about like big franchises where they were both nobodies when that movie came out. I'm talking about big stars, or you know, people that have those fan bases, they start making those rumors come.
Yeah. I still think that like unexpected movies like that, like those couplings do help in many ways, because like a big coupling for me was like Adam Brody and Rachel Bilson on the OC, and I doubt like they were like, you know, you two should. He could have dated Anna, he could have dated Misha Barton, but like that totally hooked me. I was like, oh my god, they're dating on the show and real life. Yes, like so.
I think in TV shows for sure, but yeah, all those, and especially if you're those teeny bopper kids, you know, it's just about publicity.
Zac Efron, Vanessa Hudgens.
Don't think that was real. I don't think that one was real.
Yeah. But to bring it back to our movie, what I will say though was that despite the problematic things and disgusting boyish behavior of Ryan Guzman's character, they had some sexual tension that was believable in my book. And when those scenes came on, I was, you know, we got a little warm. His house, it was a little warm.
that's why I was like, this is going to be interesting watching it with you because I love a good sex scene.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's always awkward watching those things with someone else around, or even if someone just comes like in the kitchen and you're like, God, you haven't been downstairs all day. Why now?
Try watching it when your grandma comes out. My sister and I were watching it, and my grandma. And like usually those sex scenes are kind of like 1, 2, 3, and it's
Mhm.
I was like, Jayla, will you come already? Jesus, take it so long.
It was very extended.
Yeah.
And of course, they get asked about it in all of
Mhm.
their interviews.
Mhm.
And I knew that. I predicted that when we were looking after the movie on YouTube. And we were like, damn, there's a lot of interviews about this movie. And I was like, I guarantee you we don't need to watch them all because
Yeah.
they're all going to ask them about the sex scene. Were you nervous? How was it? What was it like to do it with J-Lo and all this kinds of stuff? So let's talk about some of their interviews, and we can still talk about Mr. Ryan Guzman because he
Was anyone else upset that there was only one sex scene before he
Yes,
went
me.
crazy?
Yes.
Yeah,
was.
where's the progression?
yes.
It was the immediate turn post-coital in the morning when she's trying to like,
Leave.
daintily get out of there.
walk
and-
of shame.
The walk of shame. And, we can get into this later when we talk about how this role compares to some of the other roles similar that Jennifer Lopez has done. But I was shocked at that too, because there was a lot of like little flirtations, little looks, and stolen glances that I was almost, it would have made it just a little bit more naughtier and a little bit more wrong had they progressed their, like, had they had a few more liaisons, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's my biggest probably gripe about this movie because, like I said, or like Danielle pointed out, like Unfaithful is like one of my favorite movies. Like, just love that movie. And that slow burn of like how their relationship evolves and then just gets like crazy and out of control. That's what I was like hoping for. And it was just, this movie was like 0 to 100 like real quick. So
Yeah.
I was just like, damn. And then I was like, after one time, you're going to be this crazy?
Her
Like,
cookies were delicious.
I mean, something must have been in them because,
Mm.
but I do think obviously they try to give him this history of issues and she slowly finds that out after the fact. But, yeah, I feel like it felt rushed and that part of it kind of felt like the budget might have been like, we got one big sex scene that we could do. That's it. Like, versus like maybe some more flirtation at school, some like
Yeah, to have their affair maybe start once he was already enrolled in her class, because it wasn't until after they had sex that's when like then they had like, it was Claire's first day of school. And then on her first day of school, the Mr. what was his name? Wilson?
Edward, or Principal Edward Warren.
Where the principal comes in and he says like, "Oh, I approved your transfer." Go ahead, Jackie.
In what teacher world do I get to say, hey, I want this kid to be in my class? And the principal is just like, okay, cool.
No world. That like there were so many flaws about the educational system in this movie, and that's what got me Bowser huffing in the corner, because I was like, this would never happen.
And I'm just like, a movie has to movie. Like, they have to do what they have to do to make it progress. I do think they could have been more realistic about it and it still would have been fine. But yeah.
I think as insane as he was, and like because their tryst happened before he was even enrolled in class, you didn't even have to have the whole she's a school teacher part in it. Like, you could have lifted that entire storyline out and just have like, hey, I recorded us, I'm gonna send it, I'm gonna post it on Facebook or whatever. Like,
I just think it makes the stakes higher because we've all heard the stories of, you know, for a teacher, like any career, if somebody sends those videos, you might
You're
like,
done.
what are you doing with your personal life? Keep that shit at home. But as a teacher with a student,
Yeah.
but I told my sister, I was like, this dude, first of all, what school is letting somebody come to school without seeing their transcripts?
Yes, that was
So that I was like, he's not even a student. Don't sweat this, boo boo. You had a tryst with the boy next door. He's
Yeah.
of age. He wasn't going to the school. Like, why is this a real thing? What, you know?
He should just be getting his GED and moving on with his life. He really
Yeah.
did not need to go back to do his senior year of high school,
So
because
weird.
you got to think of it too as a student shame to be like the old kid like in your class of seniors, but to be older than everyone and kind of feel kind of like a dumbass, even though he didn't flunk, like it was a personal thing, but still.
Yeah. I just want to point out that the writer, Barbara Curry, in a few interviews, so her first draft of the movie actually focused on a 12-year-old boy and the mother's trial of trying to get her son out of this boy's clutches, and gradually
Oh,
it became
okay.
something else. Not a sexual relationship with the 12-year-old boy.
Oh,
Just
okay.
like the son being a bad influence on her son and trying to get
Gotcha.
her son away from him.
I
No
was-
sex.
Okay.
My heart,
You have me worried for a second.
my heart
I'm
was in
so
my
sorry.
ass.
Oh my God. All the faces I'm
Wow.
getting. All right. And so obviously it became something else. And then she also said that originally Claire was happily married, but she chose to have her separated due to her husband's infidelity so that she could be a more sympathetic character, and that she was influenced by the real life story of Mary Kay Letourneau, which
course.
Simone was like totally like, what was that one teacher who dated her student's name? Obviously, I feel like she tried, like I'm interested in the 12-year-old kids just like not being a good influence on each other. That sounds interesting. But I think she had a change of mind and tried to change too much too soon,
Right.
maybe.
It sounds like she was literally, what's that movie? Is it 13?
Yeah,
Yes.
of like just
Wait.
the coming of age.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
already seen it. We've seen
It sounds like a combination of The Good Son and
Yes.
13.
Yes, exactly. I'm right there with you, Jackie, 100%. And for you younger millennials, A Good Son is a wonderful movie from the early 90s with Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood.
Yes.
And they play cousins, and woo, is Home Alone batshit crazy in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Batshit
to watch that.
Crazy.
I've never seen it.
So
Oh, it's
good.
so
It's a
good.
good one. It's a good one.
Put that down.
Okay, so for me, you guys have been on this JLo journey. I
Yes.
think one of the things that kind of drives me crazy when I go to see one of her movies is I 100% fully support that she is a woman of color doing big things. But she has some of these roles where her like ethnic background
Is
is
ambiguous.
completely
Yes.
assimilated or whitewashed. And I don't understand why.
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting in a room and there's like an elephant in the room and nobody's talking about why is JLo, especially like the wedding, was it the wedding planner
Mhm,
where
she was
her
a
like,
top
what? Okay. But now she's producing this movie. She
Yeah.
is producing this
Yes.
movie. She has the opportunity. It's a small budget, fine. But why can't that part of your ethnicity come in a little bit? Your
Yeah.
experiences from your personal life? Because first of all I was questioning was a Hispanic, a Latina woman would not react in the same way in some of these things happening.
Mhm.
I just can't
Yeah.
imagine. So that frustrates me
Yeah.
to no end.
I mean, we've talked about this because I think early on and I think JLo too early on saw it as like a plus because she's not being pigeonholed to like, you can only play these spicy Latina roles like maybe a Sofia Vergara where it's like, okay, but we want you to be more Latin, like
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
Latin, which is like an SNL skit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That she was in. But I do think I do think that it's kind of like when we talked about Love and Basketball, how like you, Danielle, was like, you know, I don't even want to call this a black movie because it's just like this movie's just relatable to anybody. It doesn't, it's not grounded in like blackness. And when she talks about this movie, she's like, you know, this movie isn't like to have two Latino leads. It's not a movie that is like grounded in like this is a Latin story and something like In the Heights or something like this.
Right.
They're just people and life happens and this happens. So their ethnicity isn't at the forefront. But I get what you're saying. Like just because it's not like I'm Latin and this is the struggles of like Southeast LA. Like she's still a Latin woman and
she's not in this movie. That's the problem. So like there's coding to it, right? Like in Love and Basketball, it is not grounded in being a black movie, but it shows different facets of
black life.
And so much of the core of who those characters are still have to do with identity of them being black, but it's not the top priority because as we're living in our own lives, us being black is not always like the forefront. We're just living. And so I think it did a good balance. She had an opportunity here in this movie. I personally believe that she could have had her ethnicity in there, her culture in there in a way that was still palatable to middle America, that still showed a different, like we are multifaceted as Latinas and Latino people. Like we don't have to just be one way. And to me, it just felt like complete whitewashing of that opportunity.
And a way that maybe they could have incorporated it, I'm just totally thinking out loud of like little tweaks and things to fix the movie, but like one thing that they could have done was instead of being a classic lit teacher to be like an AP like Latinx author teacher where they talk about like different authors in the Latinx community, or if the scene what or a Spanish teacher. Yes, that too. Or like like a salsa dancer teacher. I don't know. But I think that too the scene where the custodian saw her kind of get not physical, but like she like put her hand out to, you know, push away. What's the guy's name? It's not Kevin. Kevin's the son.
Noah.
Thank you. Noah, to like push Noah away. And he reported it to the principal, for even the principal to say like not something stereotypical, but something of like, oh, you have to watch the way that you react because like, you know what they say, or I don't, you know what I mean? Like, so that as a way for her to like, you know, keep, I don't know.
Even in just the smallest things, like I just made dinners. I just made dinner. It could be, you know, a meal that she probably would make as
like
a
in
Latina
Monster-in-Law
woman.
when she makes menudo.
Right. Like it doesn't have to even be a big thing. It's just very small parts.
My bad.
Yeah. The tripe is gross.
Yeah.
I just feel like that would be nice.
Or even if like she's walking through the hallway and she passes another Latino person and it just like says something like a greeting in Spanish or something as she walks by, just something that like connects her to other people of her community and her culture would have been.
I mean, honestly, did I write this down here? Or my biggest thing was like, this was a great opportunity for her to have an actual Latin family too. Like like John Corbett, like I was excited to see him because obviously Aiden, I was like, oh my God, shit, Aiden's in here. And I was like, wait, they're married? Like I didn't buy that. Like I'm like, in what world are they together? And then like her son. And I've said this too, like with Enough, like it bothered me that Gracie seemed so white.
Yeah.
And so in Jersey Girl, I was super happy with Raquel Castro because she looks like she could be like a mixed child, which she is actually, I believe. And then Tyler Posey was like the second, like, or the first kid that I was like, that looks like that could be her child. But like, in what world is John Corbett her husband and Ian Nelson's the fruits of their relationship?
Yeah.
And so I thought even that, something as simple as that would have like made it more interesting to me because
I think she has less wiggle room in her, I guess, for her maybe how she feels in her movie career. In her producing credits, like the Fosters, Good Trouble, the one where she plays a cop, you could see her actually
Shades of Blue.
incorporate her culture,
Yeah.
or even just the Latinx culture is more visible in those situations than I've seen as much in her movie career. So maybe
Yeah.
she just feels a little bit more freedom when she does television than she can with movies. And I get it, because what you're told by studios is that you have to be targeting middle America. And like we said earlier today, that's not necessarily true. So
Yeah, and I think that's why like El Cantante is like one of her favorite roles, because it is such a Latin oriented story, and even Border Town too.
yeah.
And there's glimpses of that, but I think too, people have careers, so
Yeah.
you can do your passion projects, but like sometimes passion projects don't pay the bills. So
Yeah, but I feel like she has the opportunity to take risks now at this point.
Yeah.
Because like Reese Witherspoon decided to make her production company, and and has made an effort to make more female based stories and including women of color, and she's doing it. So
Yeah.
I don't really think we can kind of say that anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm not excusing it, but like maybe that's like not her mindset, and it should be. It should be better.
Yeah, no, I know you're not saying that. I just mean her when and I'm not bashing JLo. I just feel like when I have these stars who have a voice, who have worked their ass off to get that piece of pie,
Yeah.
I kind of hold them accountable that maybe they could be doing more.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious to know how you guys think what this role as Claire compares to some of other Jennifer Lopez's characters. Maybe, we don't have to go just with Enough, but just in general, how might this role compare to some of other Jennifer Lopez's roles?
I almost felt like, this might be an unpopular opinion, that this could be like the sequel to The Wedding Planner. Like, they've been married for a bunch of years. They have a kid in high school. Now, like, kind of bloom is off the rose. Like, Eddie's been catching eyes with someone else. I mean, like, I felt like Claire and, was it Mary?
Yeah.
From Wedding Planner, their personalities were very similar. Even like she gets that like whispery talk in some of her roles. And so they both had that kind of like same whispery cadence to the character. I don't know. Like it was just it felt very much like it could just slowly evolve into The Boy Next Door.
Yeah.
For me, in comparison to other roles, the problem is this. I think JLo is a good actress. Sometimes I know she's a good actress because there's so many movies where I feel like she killed it. And then sometimes I'm just like, where are we going? So with this movie, it was really hard not to see this is JLo.
Yeah.
Like I could not see JLo being pushed around, hit, knocked out, dragged, scared. And especially because of Enough, I think that causes a problem. Like I can't, like, what's happening right now? JLo would never. JLo would never.
That was one of my biggest beefs, and I think the only movie, maybe one of the only movie roles that I feel like could accurately compare to the maybe type of situation that their character would be in would be from Enough. And at first, like I said earlier, Slim had this evolution to her character. She had this character arc where she puts on those rings, she puts on the Timberland boots, and she's like hiding in the house because she's ready to kick some ass. I didn't see that with Claire. Now, I don't know if that's given her circumstance as a teacher. She's trying to play it safe. She's trying to play it cool. But like,
please, you and Jackie would kill somebody.
If a student
so I don't even
forcibly pushed themselves on me in a bathroom, that's justification for me to punch them hard in the dick and call the police on them. because and
Yes.
again, like I don't know if they did so many like cop out moves because of her job, and she was trying not to like have people find out, because at the end of the day, at the end of the movie, no one knows about, but maybe, well,
Yeah.
no, Kristen Chenoweth took it to the grave, so no one else knew
Yeah.
about this incident, this meeting, this
Like-
sexual meeting.
But how do you
between her and her friend.
explain this barn fire and all this stuff, like him tying up your? Also, like
So if
I want
she-
her to explain that to her husband
Yeah,
and
so
her son.
He just
Like,
became really,
yeah,
he became
exactly.
obsessed with me. I was just nice to him. I
Just
don't know what happened.
At that
I
point,
didn't
she
do
destroyed
anything.
the video. She destroyed a lot of the evidence. She could easily go back to the uncle's house and like get rid of all that shit in
Look
the
at this
crazy room,
crazy-
because they left that open as a plot hole. But she cleared
Yeah.
up, like she covered a lot of her tracks along the way, that she could easily play this off as like, this boy was obsessed with me from the start, and forced himself on me and hacked my computer to put himself into my AP class, and was trying to take a wing with my son, and then I have proof that like he tampered with the brakes on my husband's car and all this stuff. So that's probably what that post conversation after the fire barn was like. But I
Yeah.
did not like how this movie ended, because it was just the flames die out and then the credits roll, and I'm like, what?
Why weren't the cops
Yes.
called when he bashed that kid's head in the locker? Why was he having a conversation with Kristen Chenoweth?
Simone was like, "Where's the campus police officer? Like, why is she alone
Right,
with him?
there's-
Like, that would have been an immediate
Right.
expulsion. He would have been arrested because
Yes, because he's 19 and he laid his hands on a minor,
Yes.
no doubt, at that point. So that's enough to arrest him, keep him off campus. He would have never been allowed to have been at that dance where Claire was chaperoning anyways, and he wouldn't have been able to go back to his house because he would be locked up for processing. He almost killed the kid.
How is that? Like, that was, you want to talk about plot hole?
and
that
the
was it for
graffiti
me.
in the
I
bathroom.
was
I
like,
was
I'm
like,
done.
what happened to that? Nobody saw that
Yes.
shit. Like,
Oh yeah, she kneed him in the balls and
And
he
it's-
left, and then she left too.
And it's 2015. There are cameras in schools. Like, pull the footage of him like forcibly shoving me into a bathroom, like, or pull the footage of him vandalizing my
Yeah.
classroom.
the classroom.
This
too,
bitch is
it's
crazy. He
what
got to
teacher isn't
go.
in their classroom before their kids get there.
Sometimes me.
And
If you're
exactly.
running late, like sometimes I'm right there at the bell and I'm unlocking the door.
Okay. No judgment.
but-
Sorry, teachers.
No, it's okay. But like I also thought that the principal overreacted with that one. He's like, Claire, you open this door right now.
Yes.
She could be like, I'm changing. Like I have a more wardrobe malfunction, or like really quickly.
Yeah.
I got my
there's-
period. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to change clothes.
Yeah,
Want to
that
hear
was
about that?
That was not a principal
Agreed.
reaction. Like,
No.
no principal would have ever been like, especially it's high school. They can wait in the hall for a few
Yeah.
minutes. It's not like you have kindergartners
Right, and they're
unsupervised in the
seniors
hallway.
at best. And it sounds like if she's teaching like a classic lit class, that might be an AP class. So it's also just kids who like they can take care of themselves. They probably be like, all
Yeah.
right, Miss Peterson,
Right.
like
Yeah.
needs a minute. Like let's go sit in the grass until she's ready.
I have AP calculus homework
Yeah.
I need to finish. Double check, triple check. That's how kids in my class would have been.
Yeah. That was unnecessary.
The lack of the slow burn really is like why there's, like Simone said, there's no character arc for Claire, and there's no payoff
Yeah.
of her like having this big triumphant like showdown with him. And the showdown is
Yeah.
just so haphazard. There's so many, like I rewatched it this morning, and when she is like, well, you can't trust me, and she hits him with like the crowbar, but then she drops it, and I'm just like, what? In
Yeah.
what world do you not make sure that shit is like a
Double
wrap?
tap, J-Lo. Double
And then-
tap.
And then when he shoots Garrett, and she's like,
The
oh my
husband,
god,
yeah.
stay with me.
Mm.
I'm like, but your son is tied up
But your
over there.
son!
Like,
And this is
No.
when he can
Not
keep
your
his
cheating
asthma
husband.
under control. He's like, I got it
Right.
this one.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Even with all the
smoke.
panic-inducing smoke inhalation,
That's totally
I'm
like
fine.
movie
Oh my
shit
God.
because the fires
then-
are so contained where they need them
They're
for the
burning
movie.
exactly where they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching it with my sister and I said, where are the cops? I asked that a lot in this movie. She's like, everywhere where they're not supposed to be.
But she called
that made me laugh.
and he got her out of the car. So because of that terminated 911 call, and she screamed. Simone, you pointed that out when we watched it. You're like, oh my God, they're going to come because she screamed. And so it's like, how long does it take? And this morning when I was watching it, I was like, where the fuck in LA does the vice principal live? That she has all this land and she's isolated and there's a barn. Like, where is this? Because
I want to know
makes
her
sense.
salary and where she's living. She lives in a nice area.
It didn't make sense. There were too many red flags so early on. And what I would have loved is if Claire she's a classic lit teacher. Like, where are the ideas? Where's the creativity? Where's the home alone in the shit out of your house? Like, I'm not going to sleep after I know next door there's a fucking stalker.
Go to Karen's house down the street with her pussycat wig and hang out at her house.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way. I would have told my ex-husband right away.
Yeah.
Right away. And he wouldn't have had shit to say. I would have been like, cookies. Okay, like now
we're even. Shut the fuck up. And
What's
how
the
are you
plan?
going to help me? Like,
Yeah.
you had your
Seriously.
secretary. I had
There's
my boy
no
next
way.
door. Now we're even. Clean slate. How are we going to fix this?
The other weird thing is she was definitely a helicopter mom in this movie, but like when her son goes to the dance with that trampy misguided girl, when they meet at the dance, she's standing next to them like the three of them are going on a date. Beat it, scram. What are you
Also,
doing?
I thought it was kind of weird that like they didn't go together, because usually for like a homecoming dance you take your pre-pictures together and then you roll up as a couple.
Yeah.
And obviously like Noah was using this girl as like a little decoy because we see them together, which I thought that was interesting, that that's the nudity that they showed. Now I know that J-Lo has like a no nudity clause in her contract, and she does like to keep covered for the most part, but that kind of made me feel uncomfortable because I know that they were high school kids, and I was like, I feel like I'm watching some kind of like weird, kiddie porn, weird, strange, like step porn, even though they're not step, but like it just it felt like some weird taboo going on there, and I was like,
it was
totally
unnecessary.
The director, when he signed on, he was like, I'm not doing a movie about sex and it's PG-13. Like, if you want me, I'm making a rated R movie. I don't want to deal with sex and make it for like 13-year-olds. So maybe that was his like, okay, J-Lo won't show her titties, so we'll get this chick to show her titties.
It had to be some guy. It either had to be a studio exec. I mean, she's a producer. She could have said no. It was just very weird. And you know what's happening now? I think the more that we're having inclusion of different types of people in these movies, when you see these things now and they're unnecessary, you kind of say they very much are in your face, unlike the 90s, the time period Jackie and I are doing, where it's just like titties everywhere for no reason.
It's like, oh, this was a choice. It isn't just like, oh yeah, that's how it was. Like, it's like someone thought about this.
Like if they're going, because it's like kind of flip, like this older lady getting with a younger man type thing, why don't we get a penis? Everyone always gets boobs. Why we don't
I was
get
happy
like
with
the dick
the ass shot that we
I
got.
was not
that ass shot. I'm not saying anything about that, but I would have also enjoyed a little gratuitous
or like
peen.
a peen shadow.
I think
something. Give us something.
Yes.
I think men are too insecure to do that in the movies. Like they're so, and it's not even about women judging them as much as other men judging them.
Yeah, because it's such a symbol of their like masculinity and manhood, and boobs are such
Yeah.
a functional piece for women that we don't really like, as women, we don't think of it as this like whole
And it's
symbolizing of
something
our
you can
womanhood.
fix too. Like if you have small titties, you can get big titties. You have two big titties, you can make them small. You can't make your dick any bigger or smaller than.
You can. There's
You could
surgeries
pump
for
it,
Those
that.
too.
really work though.
I mean, they work. I just don't know. They're not in the forefront because men ain't talking about
That's
it.
true.
If you know what I mean.
Or I know, like, okay, the last movie I saw, I think that was like an actual movie that had peen in it was Ma. And at the end of that movie, she cuts off someone's dick and they show it, which was
Ooh.
satisfying, but it was obvious it was not that actor's dick because he's like too big of a known actor for him to show his dick. So that was for sure 100% like a stunt double or like
They have prosthetics too.
or prosthetic. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, they do. Boogie Nights.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights. That was a prosthetic, right?
Yeah. And in that TV show that everyone
Oh, I
Sex
watched
Life,
that.
by the way.
That was a prosthetic.
I didn't Okay, so I had to do some digging because homeboy was out in these streets talking about like, that's all me, baby. But I think like the director, somebody on the TV show said, "Oh, we had a really good team to help us put things together." So I don't think it's 100% grade A beef. You know what I'm saying?
That show was I'm not sad I watched it, but like I was hoping for more. I was just like,
Oh, I just watched that one episode with the dick. I wasn't interested.
Did you watch it because of the news?
I did see it on the news.
I saw it on the news too.
When JLo was talking about the sex scene that she did, she brought up an interesting thing. Okay, I am a pop culture whore. Like I will consume anything about pop culture, anything about movies. I went to film school and graduated. She said that there is a term that they use in the industry that's, I apologize if I do, I apologize if I don't. I had never heard that term, but apparently it's like this agreement, saying without saying, like, oh, sometimes dudes get hard during sex scenes and sometimes they don't. And it has no like bearing on you or your performance in said sex scene. I'm like, I learned something new today. And that's going to stick with me forever.
Yeah, I learned that too. I was like, wow, that's a great phrase. Like it sums it all up perfectly. But there was also something she said about how she said that those, like, it's hard to like fake those emotions and they kind of exist, like at least a little bit. And I was like, JLo, because I'm so used to actors just being like, well, the sex scene's not fun. It's awkward. There's people on set watching you. You're trying to make this thing believable. But when she was like, I mean, you kind of have to like get into those emotions. And so like some of it is a little bit like there, like, you're a little bit attracted or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay.
They just talked about it on the Drew Barrymore show. Can't say that 2 times fast. They just said it on her show because she had a reunion of the Never Been Kissed cast. And so Michael Vartan talks about how in the movie at the end, she kisses him for real. And he got a little bit happy and had to keel over and pretend his back went out so he can calm down a little bit, because at the time they were both single. And so she just took her shot and he was like, this is Drew Barrymore, so obviously. And I was like, what? My childhood, my pearls.
And I have to think that that's actually the ultimate form of acting, to be so in your head that you don't have time to get a boner, to like when you're kissing up on someone really hot and sexy, like that. I would not be offended personally. I'd be like, wow, you were really in there, weren't you? Like you were so in the scene and in the moment. Because it's hard. Like I don't have a penis, but I know how easy it is that if I just flash a quick titty, I know how arousing it can be for someone else who lives in my house.
The titty that launched 1,000 ships.
Like, you know, the dick is sensitive, and it's just like you can like smile or just like bat your eyelash and a dude will get a boner. So the fact that like there are people out there in Hollywood who don't, I'm like kind of impressed.
That's the only bonus I feel like to being a woman.
I have those thoughts. I'm like a penis is such a hassle at times. Like, I mean, my boobs get in the way constantly, but I mean, they don't like wrap around my head if like a hot guy walks by.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if it was like the cartoon, like instead of your eyeballs, it was like your boobies, like wow, wow, wow.
I mean, I would take a penis over having a period any day.
That I
would
agree
too.
with.
And I feel like it's so funny. So let's just talk about it, because I feel like when girls talk about this, immediately we're just like, oh, and I'd be the biggest whore. Like I would just be sticking my dick in every and anything walking. And I feel like that's because there's so much more attached to our uterus and our vagina than just sex. Like
there's functionality behind it.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be so practical at all times?
So annoying.
Yes.
So annoying. But you know what? If I can go back in time, if I knew what I knew now, I'd be the whorest whore you've ever seen. I would be having a good old time.
I think that, but then I'm like, but that's not who I am.
Would do it 100%.
Try it anyways.
Lizzo gave you permission, so
yeah,
100%.
Mama said it's okay. Mom said it's quite all right.
Who cares? I want my 20-year-old boobs back. I want them to get seen. They needed to be seen.
My metabolism. I should have been wearing crop tops.
Right?
Where was I?
I would never wear a top, braless all day. Don't care how they're swinging.
Right? Man, missed opportunities. That's why I try to tell my niece. I'm like, you know what?
Be a whore.
Crop top it up. Do what you want. Yeah. Don't be a whore, but like have fun. Live your life. Like don't
a construct of men. Just be free, my baby girl.
Yes.
Be safe and be free.
You're not hurting anyone.
No. And you know, J-Lo, in a way, her character was being safe and being free. She kind of released her inhibition and felt the rain on her skin. No one else could feel it for her. Only she could let him in, and she let him in. And
she did, and it was
glorious. Yeah,
to watch.
It was. Yeah. Also, when we were watching this,
I felt
when
that.
he puts his hand down her panties.
I got a twinge.
Yes, but I immediately was like, "Oh, that's a body double." It wasn't. She said that everything was her, and I am impressed because I felt like she would have been like, "Oh no, that's not happening."
She must have had some kind of like nude covering over, right? You think?
Yes.
How that works.
Yeah.
Maybe like she had a maxi.
Yeah, but like a flesh color.
Like a second pair of underwear, like but like an even low riser thong that was just like covering over.
Yeah.
I would have been like, let's just do this for real.
What if that was her prank? Like he thought that there was gonna be a covering, but then when he went, he's like,
"Oh me, baby."
Slippery when wet.
Oh, it was wet over here.
Oh my god,
it was wet over here.
Yeah, when he made that statement when the dad when Garrett and the son were at the house and he was making all these innuendos, I was like, I would have dropped that part. Jesus.
I love
and the cookie line was ad-libbed. That was not in the script.
Yeah,
He
that's
ad-libbed
clever.
that, and like props to him, because that, obviously I said that in the beginning. That line is like the line of the movie,
Yeah,
kind of.
I was like, because it was back to back. I was like, why he's so dangerous? Oh my god!
I was
that, and when he goes in the kitchen when she's putting away the groceries, like, if he wasn't so fucking crazy, that could have been another hot
yes.
moment of like, we're sneaking around and we fucked already. And
I think
hello.
that's what I
But
was looking for, more of the like
Sneaky
sneaky, yeah,
moments. Sneaky
like
links.
not the actual like sex, but just like
Yeah.
groping, making out in a corner, then like, oh, the son shuts the door, he's home, like, oh, straighten up, go back to what we were doing. Like we needed more of that
Yes.
before
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
my plumbing
The
isn't
scene.
working. Look under the
Ooh.
sink. Do you need a tool? Oh, oops, I'm not wearing underwear.
Yes.
Do you need a ride after
But I
school?
think-
You need a ride
Yes.
home.
Well, the way
A
that they
ride.
did it was all of this was Noah coming on to her. Never
Mhm.
once did Claire come on to him or invite him over for dinner or invite him over to help her with something. Like, it was him calling, hey, I think I like fucked up this chicken. Please come over and help me.
That-
Or, you know, like, and he has that bit of a sympathy card, right? Because of his background and because, oh, he lives with his uncle. He's just trying to help him out and all that stuff. Like,
His uncle, I
Yeah.
wrote in my notes, Noah crazy, but I put death on a chair. That dude,
he was 1 foot in the grave. And I was surprised because they said, well, he's like in the hospital receiving his treatment, like he had like some like a kidney transplant or something. But then Claire finds the secret crazy basement with all of her pictures over it with the bed and the computer. And then when she runs up the stairs and he's like, Claire, what are you doing? Never revisited that ever again. So I thought he was already in the hospital, or I thought that was what was going to send him to the hospital because she frightened him so much that he had like a little heart attack and was like,
and she just left. She wasn't like,
Yeah.
yo, check out the digs downstairs. Like nothing.
She didn't explain why, like, even
just
give a
ran.
lie why she was
No,
there.
she
or
was like,
anything.
bye.
But speaking of jump scares, like the fact that Noah went to
Yeah, that was
Kristen
good.
Chenoweth's house, like I was not expecting that. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna like I was expecting him to like go to her house
Yeah.
or his house and intervene with her what she was doing there, but never did I think he was going to show up, which kind of doesn't make sense because he was following her and then he saw her in the car and then he was like, oh, it's not Claire, and then he did that heinous like over the median U-turn, which I was just like, in what world does he not get called in? And then he goes back, which I thought he would have went back, like he wouldn't have been going home, because if he was leaving school and following her, then he would have just kept the way they were going. But like going back, I was like, why is he going back to the school? But then if he shows up at her
Maybe
house,
she was-
it's like he should just kept.
Sorry. Maybe she was going the direction of actual Claire's house, so it didn't seem weird at first. And where she lived,
Yeah.
obviously, was on the other side of town, maybe be beyond the school. So maybe when he switched, he was, I don't know, heading towards her. I have no idea, but like,
How do you know where? Well, he probably like hacked.
yeah,
into
he knew
the school.
everything. He was
That's
crazy.
I was just like, I don't know how this is happening.
No. But
Why are you still in high school if you're able to do
Get
all
a
this
job.
weird stalker shit? Like,
yeah, well, so tell me the motivations of the young girl taking the boy to the dance and going out with him.
I think in a
Like,
deleted scene there was a conversation between Noah and that girl where where like she expressed more interest in Noah. Obviously, sorry Kevin, you ain't got
No.
nothing against
Yeah.
him, but she had
No.
said like, oh, I'd rather go to the dance with you, and he said like, listen, Kevin's a friend of mine. Can you go to the dance with him? And then like you and I can get together at some point after.
I think that was in a deleted scene or was supposed to be included at some point, or maybe in the extended version. I forgot. But yeah, that I think that would be
I didn't see
the
that.
motivation to maybe like hook Kevin into thinking that Noah was a decent guy, and then if he ever
Yeah.
saw that the two of them were actually together, then he would like no longer want to be friends with him anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If
So
I thought it
shady.
was shady. He hooked
if I was the mom,
like-
if I was Claire, I would have been taking pictures of that whole situation and been like, I done told you, stay away from that boy. He's
Mm.
sleeping with your girl.
But then she
She was
has,
not
yeah,
thinking.
then
But
she
then
has,
that's like
well, I
child
mean, I guess, I
pornography.
think they're getting away with it because she's 18. They're like seniors, maybe. I
Oh,
don't know.
Yes.
I was a
Yeah,
baby senior. I was
know,
still
it's still
17
weird
in
because
high
if
school,
she
so.
if she goes to
So-
Claire's school and she has a picture, a student's boobies on her phone,
Yeah.
it's all around
Just-
spicy and no fun. But
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And as we're
So
kind of
many
getting
plot
into the
holes.
2.5 hour mark, I'm curious, I know what are some wrapping up thoughts before we do our rating and then our movie snack and cocktail spread? What final wrap up thoughts do we have about The Boy Next Door?
I mean, as cheesy and predictable as it is, I'm always gonna, if there's nothing on, choose a movie like this. I mean,
It's
the
been
one
done.
sex scene
Go
we
ahead.
got was like an A+. So rewatch just for that. He's not hard on the eyes. So I mean, I felt like the movie was watchable. It was fun in like one of those like cult classic, so bad it's good type of ways. Like if I had nothing else to watch one day, I might pop it on while I'm doing the dishes and cleaning up the house or whatever.
I don't think I okay, so it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be initially, which is saying a lot how bad I thought it was going to be. There was so much potential in this movie. I think that's what's disappointing. Like there's so much potential for this to be a riveting thriller.
He did. I was very
I'm sad
impressed
about
by
that.
him.
Anytime I could see Kristen Chenoweth, I love it. Not gonna be mad about that. Ryan, despite how cheesy some of the things were, Ryan Guzman did a really good job. He did a great job. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to make cult classic status for me because it's not something I would rewatch over and over again. I think I'll forget it. If there were some more sex scenes, that would have been like good quality to go back and be like, yeah, but there wasn't enough, and my grandma ruined the one that there was. So,
damn it, Myrtle, ruining everything.
Yeah.
Big ups to Myrtle.
And the best is we'll be in the middle of recording. She has no boundaries.
Is that your
granted,
grandma's name?
Danielle's at Nana's house some of the time, but
Bless
she'll
her.
just walk in like her Jamaican accent. She'll just be talking to people and stuff. And we have to pause and wait till like Myrtle goes to her bedroom so then we can continue recording.
She's a star. She wants to be at the center of everything.
I'm watching J-Lo and
That's
Ryan
a black
Guzman.
man thing. Like whatever you're doing, it's not as important as what I got going on. Because my mom will totally be like, "Oh, well, since I'm in here," I'm like, "You see, I'm doing something." Like,
no respect.
You see? Yes. My thoughts are more in line with Jackie's. Like, I love a good sex scene, so this movie has me there. I do wish there were more, like Danielle said, and it would probably be like more of a rewatch for me because of that. So this is like a movie which I think is part of JLo's success. If it was on E, Bravo, Lifetime on a weekend, just like we just gonna throw some movies on, movies you love weekend, and it was on, I'd be like, oh shoot, The Boy Next Door is on, and I would totally watch it. I don't know if I'm
Mhm.
going out of my way to like find it and watch it again, but if it's just randomly on TV, then I'd be like, oh yeah, pick right up where. Although I would say that that would suck because then the rated R
Yeah.
it's probably like cut to smithereens like to
Yes.
make it viewable on those channels.
Yeah.
So.
Unless you're watching cable and it's just HBO
That's
back-to-back
true.
movies.
Yeah, even if it was on a movie channel, I would be like, oh shoot. Let me go ahead and watch
I have
that.
one final question.
Here we go.
Where do you think
Mhm.
his perennial DNA went? Where do you think he came? Do you think he wore a condom? Do you think he nutted? Where do you think he
Oh
nutted?
no. It was skeet all up in that bitch.
You think he came
Yeah.
inside? Yeah.
Hell yeah. She wasn't
Agreed.
prepared for that, and
He
he
was in the
wasn't gonna
moment.
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was in the moment.
Yes.
And I think that would make her feel even more like, what the fuck did I just do last night?
Yeah.
I just, Simone, I want to know why
I
on
don't-
earth did this come to you?
I thought
to your
about it
mind?
See,
too.
I thought
just-
that they may
Yeah.
have
Really?
used that as part of leverage if
Same.
like if he came inside
She's
and
pregnant,
she like had some kind of DNA evidence or something, and he tried to use that against her. So like, I'm gonna turn you into the cops and say that like you came on to me, and then they're gonna test you and da 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 da.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was curious.
I would love a movie 18 years later and we find out she actually got pregnant
That's the omen.
and she
No, I'm
is
just kidding.
dealing with well that's
Yes.
that's the good
That's
son.
the good son.
And then the
yes.
child's crazy, and now he's
Yes.
stalking.
That's not a bad premise. We get like a Cuckoo Burke Ramsey kind of style
Yes.
kooky kid. Mm.
Yep.
And like Kevin is like hasn't talked to her in years or something, and
Love it.
Yep.
like
Mhm.
you know went to live with his dad, and so she's left
Ooh.
alone with the crazy
Yep.
baby she had. Ooh, that's kind of good.
So on the topic of things being slippery and buttery, our rating system over here on Roll Call Pod, we do how many, if you're going to get yourself a little bowl of popcorn while watching this movie, I'm curious to know, because we haven't done this, and I think we were supposed to do this earlier in the show, but we got so wrapped up in our conversation
Yeah.
that I'm just going to let it go organically. How many pumps of butter would you give this movie? And additionally, if you were to pair a snack cocktail spread that would be of theme to this movie, what would you suggest?
Whew.
I'll give it 3 solid pumps of butter.
A 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Okay.
My cocktail,
Mhm.
I thought long and hard about this. A pineapple mango mimosa
Ooh.
with a tahini rim.
Nice.
Ooh,
Nice.
going over.
You can
dry.
make it
Yeah.
happen.
I'm giving 2 pumps of butter. And if you guys really knew my popcorn situation,
Okay.
that's nothing.
Okay.
So what it really means is halfway through the movie, when I get to half of my popcorn, it's
Yeah,
a dry
you gotta
bitch.
you gotta
like
re-oil
it's
it.
a dry
Yeah.
bitch.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't get to circle it around. I didn't get to shift. It's just 2 pumps. It's just the top is buttery and then
Got it.
nothing at the bottom. I'm not happy. I'm not happy
Mm.
halfway through this movie. And I'm taking a shot of tequila. I'm not
Okay.
making a fancy drink. A bitch
Okay.
gotta get through it.
Oh, and my snack would be Claire's cookies.
Oh.
Ah,
I'm gonna go for a
Okay.
charcuterie board.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, I'm
we love a
I'm
charcuterie
going with
board.
cheeses and meats, and I'm wrapping them and putting them in my mouth, pretending they're Ryan Guzman's penis, and just being happy.
Like, look, Mom, look at this
Yes,
salami.
wrap it up.
Right.
Well, I'm just stuck on Jackie's. Like, She's my spirit animal right now because I love her drink and I love her snack because that's my opening line. So I'm gonna throw some ice cream with those cookies, because it gets
yeah.
hot. So, cool it down. Nice little ice cream cookie sandwich.
I like
The
it.
burning of the barn,
Yes.
you're gonna need it. You're gonna
Maybe
need
some
it.
marshmallows.
Yes.
Okay.
And okay, you just gave me a cocktail idea. So my cocktail needs to be on fire at some point. So,
Ooh.
yes.
Oh
Some
yes.
kind of flaming
Love a smoky
shot
drink.
or something, or like one of those, like when we went to Hell's Kitchen and they
Oh,
had
yeah,
that
the
one drink
smoky
in
one.
like something like that, smoked bourbon or something.
Ooh,
Nice.
Did I say a snack? I didn't do pumps of
Yes.
butter.
How many pounds?
I'm between you guys. I'm like a 2.5. Like, yeah,
Okay.
it didn't give what it could have given. Like, there was so much potential, but then, what it did give, I'm like, you know what?
Nice.
I could come back for this sometime. Like, so.
Yeah. I think I got too wrapped up in the parts of the plot that made me so cringy and angry that I would only give this about 2 pumps of butter. But I would at least try to shake it and like stir it around that by the middle of the movie, like there's still something there because it does get so lackluster. For the cocktail, I looked up a specialty drink for this one, which Bria makes fun of me for all the time because I'll like research.
No, I'm not prepared. And you are. So I'm just like, this is your segment.
I have an idea for Bria's really quick. Your flaming drink should be called hot for
I
teacher.
like
Okay, I'm
that.
done.
Ooh, a hot
Like a hot
teacher
tamale.
toddy.
Oh,
Hot tamale. No,
okay,
no,
sorry,
I like
Simone.
that.
Sorry.
Yeah, like a hot tamale drink with the actual like candy. Because Bria, you're all up in the cup. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have like a cup or a gauntlet in
Well, I
mind?
mean, I thought the like smoke container was like my cup.
Okay. Yeah,
If
yeah.
I put it in like a souvenir cup,
Yeah.
if it's that hot for teacher, I'm going with like you're the best teacher A+ chalkboard like mug or something like that with like an apple and a pencil.
Yes.
I like that.
Like
Yes,
teacher of the
yes.
year mug or something like teacher.
Yes.
We should open a bar.
No, I seriously think that like if we ever start doing merch that we should make a cocktail book. for
That's a
people.
lot of
Ooh,
alcohol.
like
that would be so
that.
good. Don't put that on your podcast. Keep that idea for yourselves.
It's too late. I think we said it
Yeah.
before. I don't know if it made it to edit though, but I
At
think
some
we said
point.
it.
It's okay. My cocktail for this one would be a specialty called the Iliad. There is a cocktail out there that is named after the book. And that cocktail is comprised of 2 ounces of amaretto almond liqueur, 4 ounces of ouzo anise liqueur, and muddled strawberries. So what you do is you shake the amaretto and the ouzo anise liqueur together, like in a shaker over ice, and then you take your muddled strawberries and kind of like pour that on top as a little sipper.
And that's the whole cocktail?
That's the whole drink. That's the one that
seems
I looked
really
up.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, well, so are her cookies, baby. And my answer for snack goes with everyone's here. I would definitely serve some kind of like a cookie mix, like a Pepperidge Farms
Yes.
charcuterie board of some Milanos, some chunky ones, some little thin Oreos. Like we've got a little bit of everything on there. Some pirouettes. I know.
All right. So I think we should wrap this party up, as hard as it is to say goodbye, but let's outro this bitch.
Let's outro this bitch. Before we do, I just want to say thank you so much, Danielle and Jackie, for being on our show. We had so much fun guesting for Love and Basketball and, just kind of becoming podcast friends and now like friends, going forward. This experience for us has just been so fun. So please tell the listeners, tell the J lovers out there where they can find you.
thank you guys for having us. And it's not even a question. We're absolutely friends. And once we get over this pandemonium, we definitely are going to make a trip to California and come hang with our
100%.
gals. So thank you so much. We had so much fun when you guys were on, and we had so much fun tonight. I think we even have more fun when we're on other podcasts than ours. So
That's how I felt when I was on you guys. I was like, this is fun.
It's a lot less pressure, like not having to
Yes.
do all the things.
Yeah. But you can find us at No More Late Fleas, Jesus. At No More Late.
That's our podcasts. Have no more late, please.
Yeah. Yes. You can find us at No More Late Fees on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're looking for a deep dive in 90s and 2000s movies, we're your gals. We give a lot of hot takes. So be ready, buckle up. And again, just thank you guys for having us, and all the JLo lovers. We are no hate to JLo whatsoever. Please don't come for us. Thank
Nothing
you.
but love here. Love other women. So, thank you for listening to this week's episode. And if you've stuck with us so far, please come back for another episode of the great value version of Inside the Actors Studio.
But seriously, if you do like us enough to stick around, take another deep dive down this IMDb rabbit hole with us as we do another not so mini bonus episode on Jennifer Lopez's 2014 album, AKA. And then after that, we'll be getting ready for her next movie, which is Lila and Eve.
Nice. And don't forget to give these lovely ladies a review on Apple Podcasts, because they rock and they're bringing you all the JLo knowledge. And it's a great way to show them your love.
Thank you, because
Thank you.
it's hard out here. Nobody writes reviews.
No one does.
But on that note, if you've got nothing better to do, go figure out a theme to watch a bunch of movies you've never seen.
I'm your host, Simone. Please subscribe to This Blessed Mess. Leave us a like if you are into it.
I'm your host, Bria, and like my friend Danielle said, it would be awesome for you to wipe off those buttery cookie fingers and give us a review. And follow us at Roll Call Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and my favorite, Twitter. And this has been another episode of
Roll call and cut.
Hercules.
Hercules.
Got too close to the mic.